My YouTube is just youtube.com/@ogardebates. Hey, thanks, Casey. All right, well, we'll see. Had to do the reset there because TikTok just not working. Hopefully, restarting the computer will make it work. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. If you are in the guest queue, or if you're thinking about requesting, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide rational justification for your God belief. And we'll try to get the conversation started. All right.
Can you hear me well?
I can. How old are you?
20.
And what version of God do you believe in?
I just want to argue for generic theism.
That wasn't my question.
I'm agnostic. I'm just arguing for theism. I don't think, I do think there are good reasons to believe in God.
Okay, but you don't actually believe in a God?
No, I'd say I'm agnostic. Pretty 50-50.
Is there a specific argument that keeps you on the fence or that you think is compelling?
For theism, yeah, like fine-tuning, I would say is decent.
How is fine-tuning compelling?
Because it shows that the fine-tuning data makes more sense with theism than naturalism.
Yeah, that's the claim of fine-tuning. I'm asking you to explain it to me, how that actually, what about that makes you think that that God could exist?
Yeah, because it explains the data much better than the alternative. Or alternatives.
Okay, so again, that's the claim. You're saying, like, yes, the fine-tuning argument claims that theism explains some data. I'm asking you, what about the claim that that theism better explains some data is compelling to you? It is my position that, in fact, theism does not better explain anything. There is no fine-tuning to explain. I don't think that the fine-tuning argument says anything interesting at all. So I'm just trying to get you to explain to me what it is about the fine-tuning argument that you find compelling.
Yeah, like we have all these seemingly contingent parameters for life, these constants, and they fall into...
Why do you think that they're contingent?
Range. Sorry?
What makes you think that they're contingent?
They seem random.
That's not an answer to my question. I don't care how they seem. I'm asking how, what is the justification for claiming that they're contingent?
Yeah, so I just appealed to the unpopularity of gnomic essentialism to motivate that.
No, you cannot appeal to the popularity of some view. I'm asking for the justification.
Of course you can. That's evidence.
No, it's not. Popularity of a view is not evidence for the view. I'm asking you for the justification. I'm asking you for the justification for the position that the constants could have been different.
Yeah, they're the impopularity of gnomic essentialism.
Okay, so I'll ask for the justification one more time. If you can't provide,
you're conceding.
No, it's not conceding that you can't justify your position, and I'm not going to let you continue to run away from justifying your position. So what I'm asking you for when I ask for justification is the actual data that supports the conclusion, not your appeal to other people believing that there is such data. So for the last time, what is the data that supports the conclusion that the physical constants could have been different?
Yeah, all you need is epistemic to be epistemic.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, I mean, if you can't support your position, totally fine. I mean, I can kick you, no problem. Okay. If it was, in fact, the case that, like scientists believe X, well, presumably that's because there is data on which scientists base that belief. If you can't present that data, then you aren't justified in believing it. Oh, gnomic essentialism is the opposite? Yeah, that's hilarious. I don't even care what the view actually is, but that's really funny that he was larped a little too close to the sun there. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification for your God belief. Hi, Reformed, how old are you?
What's up, man?
How old are you?
Okay, I'm 28.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ, Jesucristo.
And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide rational justification to believe in a God?
I would say that's a little opinionated with favorited evidences, so I'd say many. I mean, I'm more...
Do you want to have a debate or no? I can just move on, that's fine.
I wanted to ask you...
So I'm asking for the argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. So what's the argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
So if you're going to be a little fat boy and close your ears...
Okay. Well, hey, I mean, if you don't actually want to talk, that's fine. If you just want to come up and show everybody your ass, metaphorically speaking. Okay. Well, that's fun. All right. Well, just looking for some folks that actually want to have the debate. Level of A. Nice. Okay. So if you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God, feel free to request up. In the meantime, thank you very much, everybody, for the support. Appreciate you very much, Lone Drow, for the otter. That's awesome. King Love, thank you so much for the sunglasses as well. Poopman Jones, Lone Drow, Error 404, thank you all for your support. JJ, and again, Poopman Jones, and KC with the Djembe Master, thank you. Sir Piffington, Bradley Cooper, thank you all very much. Liz, thank you so much for the support as well. You guys rule. Let me see. Laws of nature. Oh my God. Okay, so that guy, that LARP, what was his name again? LIKWWG. So the funny thing is, the last big survey on gnomic essentialism is that over 54% over 54% of philosophers favor gnomic essentialism, giving it a clear majority, and his position is, because gnomic essentialism is unpopular, my position is correct, even though it's the majority position. So just wrong on every possible count. Anyway, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Oh, you're lucky that I hit accept before you begged in the comments. How old are you, Aaliyah?
Begged? I'm 21.
And what version of God do you believe in?
The Orthodox God.
I don't know what that means.
Are you...
Orthodox, what religion?
Orthodox? Christian Orthodox.
Okay, so then you should have just said Christian. Got it. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief?
Yeah, I'm gonna be using the transcendental argument. My basic point is that any other... I'm a presuppositionalist, so I'm gonna presuppose God. And in order for us to use the categories of intelligibility or the transcendental categories, such as logic or regularity, if we do not presuppose God, we cannot use these categories. And
what's the justification that we have to presuppose God to use logic?
Again, if you were going to let me finish.
No, I'm not going to let you finish. I'm asking you for the justification for the claim that we need to presuppose. Yeah, exactly. That's the best that you can do, right? You can't actually support your position, right? You can't actually support your position, right?
This is how the average atheist
Oh, wow. Oh, it's so a problem for me because you can't support your position.
You're a grown-ass fat man.
Oh, right. So if you just restate the claim again, then everybody won't notice that you didn't support it. Oh, really? Okay, really? Okay, fantastic.
Logic to account for logic.
Oh, really?
Now,
give the argument for that.
Again,
give the argument for that.
Use logic.
Give the argument for that.
Use logic to account for your logic. How do you account for logic?
Give the argument.
My argument is that you can't account for logic. Go account for it.
No, that's not an argument. Give the argument.
Using logic.
Give the argument.
How can I know that you can even argue right now?
So
Give
you
your
can't support your position? Is that what you're saying?
I just did. You can't.
I haven't heard the support yet.
You can't understand the question. That's the issue. You have a comprehension.
So what's the argument? What's the argument that any? So you can't. So you can't support your position?
Can you not understand that?
All right, fair enough. Obviously, never going to go anywhere. Unbelievable. My argument is that you need to make an argument. Oh, so funny. Oh, unbelievable. Hilarious. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. That was pretty ridiculous. Hi, Maxie. How old are you? Fair enough. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a God. What do you mean, Obelisk? I'm curious. Oh, thanks, Ashley. Oh, okay. All right. Highlight, how old are you?
19.
And what version of God do you believe in?
The Almighty God.
Just give me an informative answer, please, so I actually know what God you believe in. What God do you believe in?
Haile Selassie.
I don't know what that is.
Well, he's the one who sits on the throne of David.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one more time. If you're like a Christian or a Jew or Muslim or something like that, then just say, okay, so you're a Christian. So when I asked what God you believe in, the correct answer was the Christian God, right?
I say Ethiopian Christian.
So when I ask what God you believe in, the correct answer is the Christian God, right?
Hey, egghead, can you?
All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Okay. Hi, Vats, how old are you?
18.
All right. And what version of God do you believe in?
The Christian God.
Cool. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God?
In all honesty, I'm really questioning my own religion. And honestly, I'm just, trying to see what you have to say to me, honestly.
Okay.
Hopefully what you say to me will have some insight into what other people can argue with you. Because, I've been here for a minute and I haven't really seen what you've said because people haven't been serious about this.
Okay. Are you asking for an argument that God doesn't exist?
Yes.
Okay. What would be one that I would want to give? I think that an easy one, just to get out of Christianity at the very least, maybe not specifically against God, but about Christianity, is, if Christianity is true, you would agree then that an all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God exists, right?
Yes.
Okay. So my contention is that if an all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God exists, then Christianity cannot be true. So that means that Christianity is self-defeating. Because again, if it is true, it posits that triomni God, but if that triomni God exists, it's not true, which means if Christianity is true, Christianity isn't true, so it's self-defeating. And the reason...
Basically what you're saying is like that one, what is it, like, if God is all-powerful, he could create a rock he could not carry. No, what I'm saying is that if there was an all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God, he would never create a system that's as immoral and unjust as Christianity. For example, the concept of original sin, the idea that people are somehow morally responsible for another person, an ancestor's actions, that's so insanely evil and unjust that it could not possibly have been instituted by an all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God. But if Christianity is true, then an all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God did institute a system like that. That's obviously impossible because an all-good, all-knowing, all-powerful God would not create an unjust, evil system like that.
So that it means that Christianity is self-defeating. The God Christianity purports exists would never create Christianity, so Christianity cannot be true.
All right. And what would you say about like agnostic people who don't exactly believe in any specific God, but some sort of entity or...
That's not agnosticism. Agnosticism is not taking a position. Like not believing in any God at all, but also not having a positive position that God doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, no
right. But you said
religion,
you described agnostics as believing in a higher power. That's incorrect.
in something. You know?
No, that's incorrect. That's what I'm telling you that you're wrong about.
All right.
Agnostics don't have a belief about whether God does or doesn't exist.
So they're just standless?
Correct. They're on the fence.
And what are you, atheist or anti-theist? Or?
Both.
All right. Thank you.
I mean, if you want to discuss God, we can. I just was starting out with an argument against Christianity.
Like I said, not really super
Okay,
religious,
apparently
kind of
there's some
believing.
problem and I have to drop them. Weird. Violated our harassment and bullying policy. I have no idea how that person violated harassment and bullying. Very frustrating. Okay. Yeah, TikTok is weird. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Sean. How old are you?
22.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I suppose I probably could have guessed that. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God?
Do you want evidence or facts? Because I can give you both. Or you want it all in one?
I want you to present whatever you think is the best evidence or argument that God exists. And evidence
Okay,
just
sorry,
means any information that
Yeah.
raises the probability of the hypothesis being true.
I'll give it to you. That was kind of a dumb question, but the reason why I believe God exists is because when I look around, everything has a connection. Everything was created through connection.
You think
And that's
everything
why
was
I believe in
created? I don't
God.
think you really want to say that. If you
Everything
say every...
that I physically see,
Okay.
everything that I physically see was created in some type of way.
Well, I don't think that that's true. I mean, you can tell that the universe exists, right? I assume you're using see as broadly and don't actually mean see with your eyes, but experience or know exists.
We're not talking about the universe. I can know that the universe exists because I'm here,
Right.
but I don't know for sure that the universe exists.
You don't know that the universe
you don't
exists?
know- Yeah, it does exist, but like you don't know if the universe exists.
Of course I know that the universe exists.
Yeah.
Do you know what the universe is, my guy?
Let me.
Do you know what
I know what it is, but let me.
Okay, can you...
Yes,
I'm
I
just
know
going to
what-
tell you what I mean by the universe. Maybe there's a disconnect here. When I talk about the universe, I'm talking about the global causal order. So whether it's different than what science tells us it is, there is still a universe because there is still a global causal order.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well-
there is a universe, and we know that the global causal order exists, so we know the universe exists. What would be the reason to think that there's a God? You're saying that you think that things are created. I don't know. What do you mean by created? Like brought into existence intentionally?
Do you think this Earth was just?
Is that what you
put
mean by
here?
created?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything was here by an intention.
Okay, and so what would be the reason to think that the Earth was created?
It's obviously a higher power, a God. because
Yeah,
there's no way.
what's the thing that makes it obvious? Because it's not obvious to me.
All right, so you see all these galaxies and universes that we have. Do you think it was all made by a Big Bang Theory?
So you don't have any argument or evidence?
Answer my question.
No, I'm asking you a question, and you're only asking a question to try to get out of answering my question. Just because you know that the answer to my question is going to hurt your position doesn't mean you get to pretend like I didn't ask it. So what is the reason to think that the Earth was created?
The reason to think that the earth was created because every creation leads to a higher power.
No, that's assuming that there is a creation. I'm asking, what's the reason to think that it was created, my guy?
There's no really answer on a religious belief.
Right. So you don't have a reason to think the earth was created, right?
I already gave you the reason.
I haven't heard a reason. What's the reason to think the earth was created?
I just told you.
I must have missed it. I must have too much fat in my ears, I guess. That's on me for being a fat, ugly piece of shit. I'm so sorry. So I'll ask one more time, and then you can hopefully get through the fat in my ears this time. What's the reason to think the earth was created?
Dude, you think the earth is just going to pop up out of
So
nowhere?
I'm asking you for the evidence or the argument that would lead me to believe that the earth was created. What is the reason to think the earth was created?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. The argument is that I believe, on my personal opinion, that God created the universe.
Okay, I believe in my personal opinion that there is no God. So now we have my opinion versus your opinion. How do we tell which of us is correct?
We have to look at the evidence. And
that's what I'm asking. That's exactly you. Congratulations, Sean. You figured it out. That's why we look at the evidence to figure out what's correct. That's why. Guess what I'm asking you for? Did you notice what I was already asking you for before you made that genius revelation? The evidence. So what's the evidence to think that the earth was created?
Stupid. You think everybody that believes in religion is stupid?
Okay, so I'll ask one more time. If you just want to dodge, that's fine. You can go outside and like play dodgeball with your little brother or something. What's the reason to think that the earth was created?
I gave you the same answer about 4 times.
All right. You can just admit you don't have one. Well, I guess we look at the evidence. Yeah, I agree. Oh, man. Sometimes the funniest shit is that stuff. People trying to... It's not a new color of liquid every time. This is purple. This is grape. I don't remember what kind of grape, though. I have a few. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make... Oh, actually, you know what? Before I bring up the next person, thank you so much, everybody that is supporting. I don't even know where we were. Thank you to Philosophy, Adelaide, King Love sending VAT support. That's cool. Thank you, Slice and Dipster. Thank you so much, Dan Blackroyd and King Love. Really appreciate your support. Philosophy, thank you for beginning supporting me. I appreciate you as a new supporter. Thank you. King Love again, and Parker, Van Autry, Parker again. Thank you so much. And Liz. King Love sending a bunch of stuff. Thank you so much for that. And Lone Drow and everybody. Yeah, thank you, everybody. It's very, very much appreciated. And hopefully we can have some actual good debates this evening. So if you are in the guest queue, or if you're thinking about requesting, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Odell. How old are you?
52.
Okay. And then what would you say is the best argument or excuse me, what God do you believe in? I got to start there.
I believe in Jesus Christ.
Fantastic. I really appreciate people like yourself who can just say with your full chest what you believe. I really hate the people who are too embarrassed to buy it. Anyway, what would you say is the best reason to believe in a God?
Well, something created us.
Why should I think that?
We came from the dirt, as well as everything else came from dirt.
What do you mean came from dirt?
We came from the earth.
From the earth, but not from dirt.
The flowers, the trees.
Okay, this is fine, but why should I think that there's a God?
Well, first of all, let me go back to Genesis, where it stated.
I don't know I have no idea why I would care what it says in Genesis.
Well,
I can't.
Let me speak.
Well,
are you gonna let me speak, or are you gonna overtalk me?
Well, so what's going to happen, Odell? Well, here's what's going to happen disrespectfully. So if we're going to have this debate, we need to be on topic. And the topic here is reasons to believe in a God. And if I don't believe in your God, then it doesn't matter to me what your holy book says, because the only way the holy book matters is if the God that supposedly wrote it actually exists. So before I care what the Bible says or what Genesis says, I have to believe in the God. So I'm asking you for the reason to think that the God exists first before it makes any sense for me to start thinking about what the Bible says. So what's the reason to think that a God does exist?
You choosing not to let me speak.
So I'm going to let everyone speak as long as they're on topic. So now you can test me out. Actually respond to the question and see whether or not I interrupt you. So what's a reason to believe in God that doesn't require me to already believe in God?
Okay, microaggression gets you nowhere.
All right, so I'm going to ask you again. If you're not able to answer the question, I'll just take it as a sign that you know that you can't answer the question and you're too embarrassed to admit that. I get it. It's scary when you're in front of this many people and you don't know what to say. So what is the reason to think that a God exists?
Actually, it's not. I'm not intimidated.
All right, well, hey, thanks for letting us know. I know that you're pretending you're not intimidated, but by not answering the question, you showed everybody that you are intimidated and you know you can't handle this debate. So I don't know what to tell you, guy. Probably a nice person. I mean, maybe not, but obviously not prepared for the debate. Didn't have the boots. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification for your God belief. Thank you so much, KC, for the Spartan helmet. That one might be my new favorite. Yeah, Doug, I will absolutely let people talk as soon as what they're saying. I will absolutely let people talk as long as they're on topic. Let's have somebody test me. Maybe the next person will take me up and they'll test and actually be on topic and see whether or not I interrupt them. We'll find out. Hi, Keith. How old are you? Keith, you were supposed to be the chosen one. I believed in you. Don't let Obi-Wan down. Hello? All right, fair enough. Oh. right when I finally drop him. Oh, cripes. All right. All right, if maybe that person will request again. No, maybe not. Garage. Am I the garage now? I mean, I know I'm big. I'm not quite that big. Hey, absurdism. Hi, if you're in the hi. I act like I'm on like a phone call. Oh my God, my brain is fried. All right, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, Oscar said your garage. What is happening? Oh, called me garage instead of garbage. That's funny. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification to believe in a God. I'm down sober. Probably like on a weekend. Hi, Ryan. How old are you?
I am 23 years old. Can you hear me?
I can. And what version of God do you believe in?
So I believe in a version of God that precedes the Big Bang, if that makes sense. So
yeah, but which God? Like, do you believe in a God that is connected to a religion or a book? Does it have a name? Otherwise, no, can you tell me like the main qualities of it?
Sorry, continue. Can you repeat that? I was over talking you. My bad.
Yeah, I was asking if you believe in a God that's associated with a religion or a book, or if it has a name, or well, you're just over talking me again. So you did the exact same thing.
Sorry.
Okay, so the question was, do you believe in a God that's connected with a religion or a book? Does it have a name, or if none of those things, can you tell me its basic qualities?
No. So I don't believe in a God that's based with any book or transcript. In my opinion, on based religion and that sort of thing is a different topic. But the question that I had for you
is... I'm sorry, so what God do you believe in?
I believe in a God or a power of some sort before the Big Bang.
Yeah, but what
in
is
the
it?
Big Bang. I don't know. That's what I'm at.
Okay, so that's what I need to. That's what I need to know to make sure that we're actually talking about the same thing. When I'm talking about a god, I'm talking about some kind of like immaterial mind that's ultimate and created and sustains the universe.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, then I'm off with that. I was just asking. I was just kind of wanted to gauge your opinion on like what. Like, I do believe in the Big Bang model. I believe like the universe, the Earth is round, all this stuff. My mom's a science teacher, physics, all this kind of stuff.
What are we getting to? Like, what's happening?
So I just wanted to know like what your opinion on pre-Big Bang would have been. What, like, that would be the religion or agnosticism that I'm not an atheist because I'm not sure what could have happened before the Big Bang. Like,
that's fine to be agnostic, but we don't know whether there is such a thing as before the Big Bang. So, I mean, being agnostic about that seems like the most reasonable position to me. I mean, maybe other people know things that I don't, and there's reason to have beliefs about what if something was before the Big Bang or not or whatever. I have no idea. But as far as I can tell, we don't know if there was anything before the Big Bang. All I do know is that there is no reason to think that we don't have any evidence to say that the Big Bang was or was not the beginning of the universe. That's all I know.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
Well,
thank you for the clarification. I'll listen in. You've been nice and respectful, and I like it when I'm listening on the lives and stuff. So,
well, appreciate your support.
Your time a little bit.
All right, have a good one, man.
Yeah.
To not stop talking. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. King, how old are you?
Oh, I did not mean to come up. My apologies.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, thank you for the support, and you have a good one, man. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, B, how old are you?
Hello. No, I'm 19.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Well, I'm actually atheist like you, but I actually want to know what other atheists think about this argument in
okay, well, I'm not here to just do like argument coaching or anything like that. I'm doing debates with people who believe in God, but I appreciate you and I hope you have a good one. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. That's a great suggestion, Bradley Cooper. If you want to have those kinds of conversations, discuss arguments with me and with other people, feel free to join the Discord, tinyurl.com/ogarddebates. That's an easy way to go. And then also Catholic Thinker does lives where he does like debate coaching, and he will go over arguments with people. And maybe you weren't looking specifically for debate coaching or anything like that, trying to like run an argument. I'm not really here to do like LARPing or devil's advocate or anything like that, but you can absolutely join the Discord, post your debate, or excuse me, your argument, and I would be very happy to go over it with you, have a conversation about it. And there are other people who can weigh in their opinions as well. But okay, we'll move on. Before I move on to the next person, just thank you again, everybody, for the support. I don't know, did like a bunch of more stuff come in? Holy shit. Thank you to King Love and Dipster and Dan Blackroyd and Poopman Jones, Katie and Dirtbag. Where are we at? Paul Together Now, love that name. Katie and Dirtbag again, King Love again, DJ Randy, thank you so much. Earl of Willoughby, thank you, and King Love again, and KC. Ryan Quinn, thank you so much. Ty Goodwin, appreciate your support. King Love again, thank you so much. 24 Karat as well. Thank you to Blondie and Lem, 24 Karat. KTM, you went back to KTM as King. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And then Sober, thank you as well. Even though we are in fact enemies, just so you know. I don't know if you were aware of that yet, but I just decided we are enemies. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence for God. Hi, Ronan. How old are you?
26.
All right. And what version of God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
Cool. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God?
There has to be a creator to everything.
What is that?
Something can't come from nothing.
Okay. Why should I think there's a creator, though? Okay, then. We call that a spawn kill. All right. Justification snake. That is hilarious. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Rio, how old are you?
Yeah, 19.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Jesus.
Cool. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in God?
So I'm confused. Like, what is your debate about?
Whether or not there's justification to believe in a God?
Okay, why? What justification as in what?
You don't know what justification is?
No, give me the reasoning of what you're saying justification as in what?
Okay, I didn't understand that question. I'm sorry.
Okay, so either... Okay, what is your theory based off of?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a theory.
You saying that you're an atheist, what is that theory? What is an atheist? Give me the definition.
An atheist is a person who believes that there are no gods.
Okay, so how do you believe you are created?
I don't... Well, it depends on what you mean by created.
Created as in a human being, as in the people you see daily.
Okay, so when a man loves a woman, what'll happen is he will take his penis and then he puts it into her vagina. And then after an unfortunately short amount of time, usually to the point where she probably doesn't get a lot out of it, he will ejaculate his sperm inside of her vagina. And then that'll go up into her womb. And then at least, one of the sperms, it will fertilize an egg, right? Yeah.
Listen.
Mm-hmm.
It gets to a certain point of what point of life did a human being start? Who started the human being?
I have no, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
So you think everybody just spawned in one day?
No, I didn't say anything like that. I said when a man loves a woman, what he'll do is he'll take his penis and then he'll put it inside her vagina. Do you need me to go through like the whole process?
No, so I understand that. So
okay,
I guess what I'm not understanding is how you think humans were created.
I don't think humans were created, other than that process that I was just talking about.
You don't think humans were created?
No.
So
why would I think that humans were created?
Ogre, before that process was able to become a thing, what was before that?
Lots of other life forms.
So you're a monkey. You believe
we're apes. Yeah, you and I are apes.
An ape.
Yes, you and I are apes. Correct.
So you identify as an ape.
Well, yes, we are apes.
Okay, so at what point do you go from crawling on all fours to...
apes don't crawl on all fours, right?
Ogre, I'm asking you at what point...
Okay, so I'm not hearing anything about a reason to believe in God. Let's imagine that evolution is completely wrong, that you've completely demolished all my beliefs about where humans come from.
Right,
I now completely agree with you. Evolution is fake. What's the reason to believe in a God?
I mean, look around, dude. You have
look around. Oh my God. Well, you know what? I've never looked around before. And now that I've looked around for the first time in my entire life, I can tell that there is no God.
Dude, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're
yeah, I looked around and there is no God. I didn't see a single God. So what's the reason to believe in a God?
Dude, like, do you think...
Dude, do you look around, dude?
Skin.
Do you have anything of substance or should I just move on?
Holy shit, you're retarded.
Okay, well, there you go. Of course, when you know that you have nothing, you have to resort to slurs and ableist bullshit. Resorted to ableist slur when it wasn't going well. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification for your God belief. Yeah, exactly, Holy Gore. Oh, I'll just say a slur and hopefully he'll kick me and then it looks like I didn't lose. All right. Hi, Russ. How old are you?
Am I audible?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can. How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 20.
And what version of God do you believe in?
I'm an Orthodox Christian.
And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
Yeah, I think there's sound argumentation in favor of the position that God exists, specifically the Anthropic argument.
Do you think that saying I think that there's sound argumentation in favor of God exists has does anything for this conversation?
I know your blood pressure spikes.
Okay, so here's the problem, Russ. Here's the problem, Russ. I'm not going to do this sophistry. I'm not going to do rhetoric. I'm not going to do any of that. So if you want to have the conversation, then we absolutely can. But the next time that you do that kind of thing, where I ask you a direct question and then you give like a preamble before you actually answer the question, I'm just going to drop you. I don't have patience for it. So what would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God?
I just want to be clear. Me saying that
remember when I told you if you did this again, I was going to drop you? Well, you did it again, so guess what's going to happen? Yeah. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Wells. How old are you?
I am 19.
Well, I do not believe you. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. That's correct, Doc Nancy. My demands are that we actually talk about the substance. Hi, Tackett. How old are you?
63.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you're not a child. I'm sick of those. What God do you believe in, Tackett?
The one that's in the Bible.
I assume you mean the Christian Bible?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what would you say?
Christian Bible.
Okay. And what would be a reason to believe in a God?
The Bible.
How would the Bible provide a reason to believe in a God?
You have to believe in it.
Well, okay, but I don't believe in it.
If you don't want to believe in it, you can't.
It's not that I don't.
That there's...
It's not that I don't want to believe in it. It's that I'm not convinced, and I can only become convinced when I have justification for being convinced. So, what would be the justification that would convince me that a God exists?
Something supernatural.
Okay, well, I mean, there could be supernatural things without there being a God. Like you could be an atheist and you could believe in ghosts and spirits and all kinds of other supernatural stuff.
And where does that come from?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to talk to atheists who believe that stuff. But you can believe in like idealism, and you could believe in all kinds of other things that have nothing to do with a God that would be, close to God-like. Right? You could believe that reality is consciousness. You could believe, like I said, in spirits and souls, all those kinds of things. You don't have to believe in a God if you believe in those things. So what I'm asking for is the reason to believe in God, not these other ancillary things.
Well, you're right. That's the gift of being a human being.
Okay, so do you have a reason to believe in a God or no?
Yeah, I have a reason.
Oh, fantastic. Can you communicate the reason to believe in God to me?
Well, there's quite a few. I mean,
can you communicate one of them to me?
Because I believe in God, my life has been saved.
No, I'm asking for a reason to believe in God.
That is a reason.
No, that's not a reason. That's a benefit.
Oh, yes,
I'm not asking for benefits to believing in God. I'm asking for reasons to believe in God.
The reason I believe in God, because I want to.
Okay, well,
that's the
okay.
reason.
All right, fair enough. I believe you on that one, Tackett, and I wish you nothing but the best. Take care. Does not seem like we're actually going to get anywhere. I believe because I want to. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. I don't understand people who aren't even requesting that are begging to be let up in the chat. Like the Discord is tinyurl.com/ogardebates. You could also follow me over on YouTube if you so choose. That's youtube.com/@ogardebates. And then I also have my PayPal and Venmo up there if anyone's interested in supporting that way. I meant to set up a Cash App because it was requested, but I forgot. So that'll happen. You know, when you get to my age, that that happens. But in the meantime, before I bring up the next guest, thank you so much for the support to 3 Pips and Doc Nancy. Appreciate you both. Thank you to Hi Bear and oh my goodness. Hi Bear and Bradley Cooper, Paul Asolipsis, thank you so much. Neurospicy Cat Lady, thank you again. And Liz, thank you again as well. Appreciate all of your support very much. Thank you to the new followers. What are we at? We're at like almost 6,750. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, thank you everybody. I do want to check one thing. And while I do, I'll just give a reminder that if you are requesting in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you do have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. And okay, we'll bring up Ari. Hi, Ari, how old are you?
Hi, I'm 31. How old are you?
I'm 40.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Yeah, and what God do you believe in?
Elohim.
Okay, you're Jewish?
I am Judeo-Christian, yes.
Are you Jewish or are you Christian?
I am Judeo-Christian.
Okay, so I will ask one more time. If you don't give me a direct answer, I will just move on. Are you Jewish or are you Christian?
I'm Judeo-Christian. Get over it.
All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief. Yeah, I don't have patience for bullshit. Somebody asked me what I'm typing. I take notes on the conversations, and so I like to have a spreadsheet where I take down people's ages, I write down their username, the timestamp for when they came in, the belief that they claim, whether it's Christian, Muslim, agnostic, theist, whatever. And then I also typically take notes on what the conversation was about. And then I also have a text file where I type in, again, people's age and name and their belief, and then I put all that up on my YouTube. So yeah, I'm like doing a whole bunch of stuff over here while the conversations are happening. And then I'm also during some of the debates, I'm also taking notes while they're talking. Well, I'm answering, Ari, because someone asked. I'm just answering your question. So sorry that that's offensive to you. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Coop. How old are you?
I'm 18.
I do not believe you. Hey, thanks for the hat and mustache. Who even said that? Atheist Cat, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you to July Love 31 as well, at his word. Appreciate your support. Atheist Cat, thank you so much for everything. July Love again, and I Got Peas, thank you so much. And Perkins and Poopman Jones, 24 Karat, thank you all so much. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Lem, as well. One sec. All right. Did not sound 18 to me. All right. So currently nobody requesting. If you are, hey, thanks, Neurospicy Cat Lady. That's awesome. If you are 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief, feel free to request up. Hey, thanks, I Got Peas. That's really kind. Thank you. And CDO Tracks and Ed His Word as well. Thank you all for the support. All right, what's happening? No. I don't want to do that. Okay. So yeah, hoping that some folks will come up and actually want to have the debate. That would be nice. Just looking for folks who are 18 plus, believe in a God, can say what God they believe in, and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for their God belief. Well, if there are people in the chat begging to come up, they're not requesting. But if somebody does request, as long as you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence, I'd be happy to have the debate. What do we do? Okay, I'm gonna all right, so what do I read, y'all? What do I read next? I just started another meta ethics book. Which hand tattoo? This is a Daruma doll. I just started a meta ethics book, but I don't know if I want to read that. So then I started a book on necessitarianism, and I think I'm going to read that, but it's not super long. So then I'm trying to figure out what to read next. Oh, Fruit Brute, you're totally right. You're totally right. Ryan Mullins. That's exactly what I should read. What a fantastic call out. So here's what I'm genuinely going to do right now. While I'm waiting, if it takes a little while for somebody to come up, then I will find that Ryan Mullen book while I'm waiting. But that is a fantastic suggestion. Oh, I need to read that. I read one Oppie book, The Best Argument Against God. Oh shit, yeah, I do need to finish Dungeon Crawler Carl. I haven't made it very far. I only literally listen when I'm at the gym, and I'm not there for like hours at a time or anything, you know? Okay. Well, maybe we can have a conversation. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Maybe we can have an actual conversation here. Hi, Veritas. How old are you? Whoa, hello?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How old are you? Hello?
20. Hello, can you hear me?
I can. When do you hear this?
Okay, I'm 24.
Seems like there's a big delay. I'm going to count to 3, and then I want you to say 4. 1, 2, 3.
4.
Okay, yeah, so we got a pretty big delay. Maybe if you get a better connection, you could come back. That'd be fine. That didn't work. Come on. I thought I was be able to find that book while I was on stream, but apparently not. Okay. All right, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Isaiah, how old are you?
I'm 21.
And what God do you believe in?
Jesus, nigga. What God do you believe in?
I believe that there is no God. What would you say is the best argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief?
You lost like a motherfucker, and you need to get.
So what's the reason to believe in God?
Because you're breathing, you dumbass nigga. Fuck you mean?
Right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. All right. Well, thanks, Poopman Jones. Oh, and Bradley Cooper. And 3 pips. Like I said before, love my mod team. I'm so blessed. Get it, get it, get it. Okay. Okay, so if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief. Yes, 3 pips. All 3 of you blocked him, and I appreciate it massively. Mods greater than gods, agreed. Hi, Korea, how old are you?
27.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Jesus.
All right, and then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God?
Well, I don't want to use like big words because you kicked that other guy out, but pretty much, I guess the ontological argument is what kind of drew me, besides personal experience.
Which ontological argument?
That, you know, God is the highest being conceivable.
Like Anselm's?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I can agree with you that that's the definition of God. The question isn't about what exact definition you use. The question is whether or not that definition refers to something that actually exists. So my contention is that the definition that you're providing for God is fine, and I agree with you that God not existing is a contradiction. Luckily, there can be contradictory properties in things that don't exist, and that's not a problem. So I don't see a reason to think that the God exists.
Would you be interested in hearing personal experience, or do you just want to go like a logical route?
Right. Personal experience isn't going to do anything. The closest I would be willing to come to talking about personal experience would be talking about the method that we can use to determine who is and who is not properly interpreting their personal experiences.
How do you feel about the teleological argument, the cosmological argument? Just the basic ones.
I mean, teleological covers a lot of different things, so I would need a little bit more specificity. Well, I mean, cosmological does as well. Do you mean the Kalam?
Yeah, the Kalam cosmological.
Yeah, I think that the Kalam is a really flawed argument. Like, if we accept the first premise, then we would also have to, based on the exact same data, we would also have to accept a premise that says something along the lines of everything that begins to exist, it has a physical cause, or you could also use the exact same data to support the conclusion that everything that begins to exist is made out of something else that already exists in the universe. Both of those premises, since they're supported by the exact same evidence that supports the first premise of the Kalam, they have equal weight and are equally as legitimate as the first premise of the Kalam, but both of those premises, if accepted, would lead to a refutation of the Kalam. So the data that the Kalam is based on refutes the argument itself, and then if we ignore the first premise entirely and say we grant the first premise as it is in the Kalam and only focus on the second premise, well, we actually have no justification whatsoever for the position that the universe began to exist, so the argument fails on that ground as well. And then the even worse part about it is, even if you grant the entire argument and say, sure, well, I'll grant both premises and the inference to the conclusion that the universe has a cause, you still aren't going to be able to get to God from there. So I think that, like, on every possible metric, the Kalam is a horrible argument. And then on teleological, like I said, I would just need more specificity.
Well, do you understand? I guess you kind of understand the concept of who God is and the properties of God, that he's eternal and he was always there.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a created being.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't believe in it, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. I have no reason to believe that it does exist, and lots of reasons to think that it does not exist.
Well, teleological, I meant, more so the simple aspect of design within the universe.
Yeah, I don't know why I would think that there's design in the universe, other than, obvious things like designed by humans.
Is it because of suffering, stuff like that?
No.
Or could you specify why you think there's no design?
Well, because I don't have a reason to think that there is design, is what I'm saying. I don't know why I would assume that there's design, and if I don't just assume it, if I don't just presuppose it, then I would need justification to draw the conclusion that there's design, and I don't know of any justification for that conclusion.
How about the human body, like the operation of the human body?
Yeah, I think that the human body would be a great argument that there is no design.
Or the concept of giving birth, how we're able to produce life within us.
Hate speech and hateful behavior is in my live, apparently. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Apparently people reporting me. Whatever. I don't know what to do about that. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I said the concept of giving birth, like the ability for women to give birth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, if a God exists, a birth would not be anything like what it is. At least if a good God exists. I mean, maybe if an evil God exists, they would make it that way. But certainly not a good God. Can you imagine what it must have been like for my mom to have to give birth to this? Like, obviously I wasn't quite this big, but pretty fucking close. That must have been horrible for her. Honestly, now that I think about it, I need to apologize to her again. I know I have before, but that must have been horrible for her.
I mean, I think design doesn't, like, the universe having a design doesn't negate the suffering or bad aspects of it.
No, I'm not talking anything about suffering or bad aspects. I didn't say anything about that.
That doesn't seem like it's designed.
Correct. I don't see any reason to conclude that it is designed.
So is your conclusion that the universe is just a coincidence and it happened without purpose or without...
Well, what do you mean by coincidence?
As in, there's like no purpose to the universe.
Well, what do you mean by purpose?
The reason to live, the reason to do things. or innate?
I guess I'm just not, I just feel like when you're trying to define these terms, I'm not really understanding what you're talking about. But if I just try to like assume that maybe I know what you're talking about, I would say no, I don't think the universe has a purpose. If you mean purpose in the way that like a hammer has a purpose because we made it to be a tool that hammers nails into things, like,
right,
then no, I don't think the universe has a purpose because I don't think that it was made by someone to do to serve an end.
What about the resurrection
Of Jesus?
Yes.
I don't have any more reason to believe in the resurrection of Jesus than I do to believe in the resurrection of Nero or Aristius or a bajillion other people who supposedly resurrected thousands of years ago before we had enough, recording capacity and knowledge to understand that resurrections don't really happen.
Is your purpose for this life do you want to convert people to atheism, or do you have a curiosity within you to learn about religions and God?
The purpose for this live is, well, there are a few of them. One of them is that I enjoy debating. I do enjoy that. That's why I was captain of the debate team in high school, and that's a thing that I've enjoyed for a long time. I was just talking to my mom recently about, she was telling me how terrible I was when I was a kid. I didn't know shit, but I tried to debate people anyway. So that's just a thing that I've always enjoyed. Another thing that I really enjoy is like putting my positions to the test, right? Because the format of this stream is that I do one-on-one debates the vast majority of the time. Sometimes I'll bring a friend up, but the vast majority of the time I'm doing one-on-one debates. I will accept anyone who's requesting. And as long as I don't have reason to think that there is a reason not to talk to them, like, they're a child or some other, like they're saying hate speech or something like that, I will bring up anybody that comes up, and I will allow them to give any argument that they want for their position. And I have to think on my feet and try to deal with that. That's a fun challenge for me. So that's part of it. Part of it is I like learning. For example, I'm 40 years old. I never went to college. I'm actually starting college on this coming Monday. I'll be starting my first semester of college as a 40-year-old. And because I'm in this new chapter of my life where I really want to learn. And this is an opportunity for me to, like I said, put my positions to the test. I've learned already from doing this. And there are a few other reasons, but yeah, I think that's the big stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could give you a better debate, honestly. I was an atheist too, like 9 years ago. I had an experience. I'm not going to share it because I'm sure you don't, But yeah, I had an experience where I believed in God, and I think when it comes to, I was talking about purpose for a reason. I just felt the lack of purpose my whole life, and I tried all these things, but when I read the Gospels and I understood who Jesus was, what he came to do and what that cross meant.
Yeah, but you don't know if any of that stuff is true. You're just assuming that stuff is true. Well, and I get it that there are stories that can be powerful. Like, there are lots of stories that I like, right?
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we have to believe that the characters are real. Like, I don't know, like there's a comic book character I like called Bloodshot. And there's something that I really connect with about him, with him. Like, he kind of is in this weird place where he doesn't really know who he is, and he feels like other people are trying to make him into be something that he doesn't want to be. And like, I really connect with a lot of the struggles that he goes through. And then obviously, like, I don't connect with the fact that he has like, healing abilities and kills people all the time and whatever. Like, that's all, I don't really connect with that stuff. But there are lots of like character aspects that I really like, and I learn things sometimes from reading stories, whether it's in comic books or novels or wherever, or movies. I really love watching movies. Like, I learn stuff from them. I learn stuff from the stories. There are characters that I really connect with, but that doesn't mean that I have to pretend that they're real in order to get something out of the story.
Do you believe, so you just believe in like what you can see in front of you? Do you believe in anything more, like any metaphysical or spiritual realm out there?
I don't believe in anything spiritual, and the word metaphysical, people use it so many different ways that I'm not sure at all what you're talking about with that.
I guess it's spiritual, like things you can't see or touch or feel are still there regardless.
I don't believe in anything spiritual, no.
Do you believe in love? Like, or would you say that's chemical?
I believe in love, which is chemical and electrical activities in our brains.
Okay, gotcha. All
right.
And do you come from a Christian background?
I was raised Christian, but it doesn't sound like we're going anywhere, and I'm not really here to do like 21 questions, but I appreciate you. And if you do have some other argument or evidence that you want to discuss at some point in the future, you're welcome to come back. But thank you, and have a good one. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God. I mean, do you guys want a Q&A? I don't know. I mean, people have mentioned it a few times. I guess it's something that I could theoretically do, but I don't know. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Thank you, Eddie and Lem and Veritas. Thank you so much, Atheist Cat. Oh, and Liz, thank you. Thank you so much, both sides. And again, Atheist Cat, Mr. Colby, CDO, I got peas. Thank you, everybody, very much. I sincerely appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure you're an adult and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Guff. How old are you? Hello? Fair enough. All right. Yeah, okay, maybe I can do a Q&A sometime. But yeah, there's a glitch. All right. Hi, Veritas, do you have anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a metaphysical argument.
How old are you?
24.
And what God do you believe in?
I believe in Yahweh, but I've got a metaphysical argument.
So, are you Christian or Jewish?
I'm Christian.
Okay. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence for God?
Yes, I'm given a metaphysical. So my best argument is the Deonte argument. It's a metaphysical argument for
The what?
God's existence. It's a metaphysical argument for God's existence.
Yeah, what was the other thing you said? The what argument?
The Deonte argument.
The what?
Deonte.
I don't know what deonte is. What's deonte?
It's existence and essence. It's the existence essence argument.
Spell it?
Existence.
No, deonte.
D-E-E-N-T-E.
D-E-E-N-T-E?
Yeah, D-E-E-N-T-E. It's Latin.
Oh, D-E space E-N-T-E?
Yeah.
Okay. Famous metaphysical proof. From Aquinas. Oh, fantastic. Okay. I guess if you want to suck Aquinas's dick for a while, what's the argument?
What? Okay. P1. And anything whose essence does not include existence.
Hold on. Calm down. Anything whose essence does not include existence. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Must come from an external cause.
An external cause. Okay.
P2. In every being except one.
In every being except one.
Essence and existence are really distinct.
Okay.
P3. Therefore, every such being receives its existence from something outside itself.
Outside itself, okay.
P4. This causal chain of received existence cannot regress ad infinitum.
There cannot be an infinite regress of receiving existence.
Yes.
Okay.
Therefore, there must exist a being whose essence just is its existence.
What does it mean for a being to have its essence be existence?
That means that its essence, right, its being, is identified with the act of being outside of its cause.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
You don't know what act means, or?
I don't know what it means for something's essence to be its existence, for its being to be its existence.
So do you know what it means for us to like associate existence with first order properties?
What do you mean associate existence? No, I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay, do you know how like existence is used in formal logic as like a quantifier, right?
I know about quantification, yes.
Okay, cool. Now, there's a sense of existence, right, that could be attributed to someone in the first order. So like, if, for example, if I say...
No,
yes, like,
no, you cannot make existence a predicate. Like this is obvious.
I'm not making existence a predicate. I'm giving an example of how existence could be associated in first intentions. So like, for example,
so I still don't, now I have, you've lost me. You've lost me. I don't know what we're talking about. I was with you when you were talking about, if you asked, if I know what quantification is.
That's what I was about to give the example, right? So the example is this. If I say Ogar doesn't exist, okay, I'm not picking out an example of anything being instantiated. I'm saying Ogar does not exist. So there's a sense in which existence is identified with Ogar. Now, if I say Ogar always exists or Ogar necessarily exists, then I'm saying that existence is identified with what Ogar is. So that's the type of being I'm arguing for.
No, that's not what you're doing at all.
Yes, that is what I'm doing.
No, when you're saying Ogar exists.
Have you read the Deonte argument?
I read the argument that you just gave. When you say something, when you quantify over something, or you say that so there's a big difference between saying, Ogar is fat. That's like assigning a predicate to me, versus saying Ogar exists. That's not assigning a predicate to me.
I've already covered that.
Okay, so I don't know what you're talking about then. What it doesn't mean, okay, I still don't know what it means for essence and existence to be the same thing.
Okay, so when you said, when you're talking about existence being a quantifier, you're using Freudian logic, right?
What?
You're using Freudian logic when you say existence is a quantifier, right?
No.
Oh my lord. Who made predicate logic?
I'm not using some specific person's logic. We're just talking about like first order logic.
Yeah, but the concept.
But that doesn't make it his logic. Whatever. Yes, we're talking about first order logic.
Predicate logic, yeah, and
we're talking about first
order logic.
That is, it doesn't mean that someone owns it. What does it mean for something's essence to be its existence? Because what it sounds like to me is that you're trying to make existence a predicate.
What I'm telling you is. There's a sense in which existence could be identified as something the first order.
Yeah, and I don't know what that means, and I'm asking you to explain it.
And I gave an example.
I don't need an example. I need you to explain it.
So you don't need an example to understand what it means?
Correct. I need you to just explain what it means.
Okay. You don't need an example, but you want me to explain?
Yes, exactly. Yes, explain what it means. Don't give an example.
Okay, great. So existence is just going to be defined in Henry Grenier's atomistic philosophy, which I can bet you've never read, as the act that pulls a thing outside of its causes. And there's going to be 4 types of causes. There's going to be formal.
We don't. No, Veritas. This is not what we're talking about right now.
Oh, so now
this is not what we're talking about. So
now you're going to interrupt me when I'm defining existence.
Yes. Wow, no, because we're not talking about a definition of existence. Yeah. So you don't even know what I'm asking you for.
No, I answered you. You're not satisfied with my answer.
No, you didn't give me an answer. You tried to define existence. I'm not asking you to define existence.
What?
I never asked you to define existence, my guy.
Okay, you asked me to explain what essence and existence identification is.
No.
You don't know what existence is.
No, I never said I didn't know what existence was.
Okay, so you know what I mean by existence now?
What I'm asking you to do is explain what it means for a being's essence to be its existence. I'm still waiting for you to explain that.
Okay, wait, hold on. So you know what existence means now in my paradigm? Because earlier you were saying, oh no, existence is just a quantifier. You can't associate it first order. But so now you know what it means, right?
So do you want to explain what it means for a being's essence to be its existence or no?
I'll take that as a yes.
So you don't want to explain it?
So now, back to the topic. So in this sense, right, its existence, which you've now understood, right, is going to be identified with this being necessarily by definition. This being's
No, that's just not how existence works. That's making existence a predicate.
So
that's what you're doing, is you're making existence a predicate.
Then you don't
you can't make existence a predicate. As soon as you make existence a predicate, now what you have to say is that all things that don't exist have to exist in order for non-existence to apply to them. And so you're committing yourself to infinite contradictions by saying that things that don't exist also exist, and there are infinite things we could come up with that don't exist, and you have to say every single one of them both exists and doesn't exist. So as soon as you make existence a predicate, you fall into this trap and you have infinite contradictions in your view. So in order to not do that, you need to explain to me what it means for a being's essence to be its existence without treating existence as a predicate.
Okay, great. What's predication and what's the difference between predication?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one more time, and if you can't just give me the answer, then I'm just going to move on. So for the last time, Veritas, what does it mean for a being's essence to be its existence?
You said existence.
Okay, so you clearly aren't going to answer the question. Unbelievable. Just try to get to the actual answer for the question, and they just cannot do it. Oh yes, I ran away because he refused to answer the question I asked over and over and over again. Yes, you're totally right. I definitely am the one who ran away in that conversation. Oh man. Hi, thinker. Am I correct or am I not correct that Aquinas's position with that argument was that God is the one case where existence is a predicate?
Well, it would depend on what you mean by predicate, because predicate is something that's, as I understand it, predicate is something that's added onto an essence or a nature to differentiate it, or at least that's what Kant is using it to be, because if I was to say a predicate, like the apple is red, I am predicating redness onto the apple by
all a predicate does is just like tell you some feature of a thing.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a non-essential feature.
Well, so essence here
no, we're not talking about essence. We're not. I'm just saying what a predicate is, and my understanding is that Aquinas's argument, and hey, I could be completely wrong on this, but my understanding is that Aquinas's position was that like the one time that we can use existence like a predicate is for God.
No.
Okay, so then can you explain to me what it means for a being's essence to be its existence?
So the best way that I've tried to explain it is where existence has its own identity.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out a way to,
because it sounds like that's just trying to make existence into a predicate. It's trying to it's trying to make existence into something that can be predicated of something.
What I was trying to say, Ogar, is the way that you were arguing about his presentation of that particular argument was valid. And what he was trying to argue, if you remember the TikTok video I did on Aquinas's argument, that I called it the argument from simplicity, and I tell people if you really want to look at Aquinas's argument for a non-believer, go to On Being in Essence. That's the argument he was referencing.
Yeah, and I remember when you and I debated that was what we boiled down to, was that essentially what was happening was existence was being predicated onto God, and that was my critique of it then.
So what I was trying to say is like,
well, I don't want to re-adjudicate this argument. I mean, unless you really want to debate this argument right now, but that's not what I was trying to do.
Saying, like, the reason, the only thing that I would say, like, just to put this in thought for you to think on, is if a predicate is telling us something, or what was the way that you had defined it?
Oh, I don't even remember exactly what I said now. A predicate is just telling us like a feature of something, a property of something, something about something. It doesn't have to necessarily be essential or non-essential.
Okay, so a predicate is telling us a feature about a thing, but what happens when we are is red, when we're talking about red in and of itself, are we then turning red into a predicate of itself when we talk about it?
No.
So that's what Aquinas is trying to do for God, is where that's why it's not a predicate even for God, because when we're talking about
but
God,
existence isn't a thing, though. Like existence isn't a thing that is instantiated like red is. Like redness is instantiated in things that are red, like in particulars that are red. Now I don't believe in universals, so I'm just going to say that this is kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck, my brain is farting. I cannot think of the goddamn word. I'm just going to say it's some like similarity between things. Like I don't think that properties actually exist. I don't think universals exist. But what I was trying to say is, like, when we say a thing is red, we are saying something about like the properties a thing has. When we say a thing exists, we're not saying anything about the properties that it has. We're just saying something about whether or not those, or if we say a thing exists or doesn't exist, we're saying something about whether or not that thing is instantiated in a given framework. Right, we're saying like the number 7 exists is true inside mathematical frameworks because in those frameworks they quantify over numbers like that. But I don't know what it means to say that existence exists. Like, to me, that's just saying that to me I can't imagine as anything other than using existence as a predicate.
So and that's fine. The point that I was getting at within Thomas Aquinas' framework, it is accurate to say that he's not using existence as a predicate for God, but that's because he's not operating within a nominalist framework. So your critique is valid for nominalism and why the argument doesn't work in a nominalist framework. Thomas Aquinas' argument is working within an Aristotelian moderate realist framework that holds to universals. So that's why he frames the argument the way that he does. But from a nominalist perspective, yes, you're right. The argument just doesn't work because the very distinction that Aquinas is trying to make in the language he's using is working within a different metaphysical structure. But within that metaphysical structure, it would not be accurate to say that existence is a predicate in God alone, because it's not describing or an aspect of the thing. It is the thing itself.
That doesn't that just, I don't know, that just says, to me, that sounds like you're saying that existence is this like thing that has its own ontology that exists in some kind of like Platonic-esque realm, and that again just sounds like even if I believed in universals, that would still strike me as being completely wrong, because like the universals are things that can be instantiated, and existence isn't a thing that can be instantiated.
Aquinas would just say that it's what instantiates other things, but
yeah, I would definitely disagree with that. Yeah, I don't think things like get instantiated by something. Either they are instantiated, in which case they exist in whatever sense existence is being used, or they are not instantiated in that sense. In that case they don't exist in whatever sense existence is being used. So like I don't understand what it would possibly mean for existence to exist like that. But that's what it sounds like you're saying, and that doesn't make any sense to me. That's like saying being has being, and that just is nonsensical.
I mean, and this is probably just the fault of me growing up surrounded by this, because it makes sense to me, but I don't know how to explain it. But I did find something that caught my attention. Apparently, the people have moved away from the Kantian language of denying existence as a predicate. They still say it's not a predicate, but they're now talking about it being the prerequisite for things to exist, and I want to look into that a little bit more. Maybe that can help clarify.
Yeah, ontology gets so fucking weird, man. I read all this like Carnapian stuff, and now my brain is just like completely fried with this like some semi-Carnapian view of ontology. I don't know if you're familiar with the Carnapian perspective at all.
No, but I've seen that being brought up a couple of times where people are asking you about it, and you're just like, if I remember correctly, you were like, nope.
Well, okay, so here's my all right, now we're yap session time. So
I mean, do you have another guess?
No, I don't. I'm gonna have to reset, I think. So whatever. But I where I'm at, okay. So the whole Carnapian thing, like the aspect that I like about it is that it says existence means different things in different frameworks. Like, for example, because Quine's whole thing was that you could tell what exists by what you have to quantify over, and that we should be ontologically committed to anything we have to quantify over. And unless you don't want to be committed to it, and then you just try to find a way to paraphrase the sentence so that you're not quantifying over the thing that you don't want to have ontological commitment to. I hate that Quinian view because it just is vibes, man. It's like, if I don't want to have ontological commitment to this thing, then I just can rephrase my sentence, and now I don't know. That just is such an annoying like loophole to me that it can't possibly be correct.
You and I both have very similar feelings to seemings.
Yeah, and that's what that is, right? Like, I feel like humor probably loves that Quinian view of ontology, but the Carnapian idea is like, okay, so like inside like a mathematical language, like, you know, like as far as I can tell, a Carnapian framework is going to be some kind of like specified linguistic system or semantic system, and you know, like a math language or a logic language is going to be a Carnapian framework. And we would say, like, inside a certain like logical framework, we may quantify over numbers, and then we could say that in that framework numbers exist without actually saying that numbers exist simpliciter. The thing I don't like about the Carnapian approach is their whole thing is that they differentiate between internal questions and external questions. So the internal questions would be like, how many apples are on the table? Okay, well, now inside the framework we're talking about, there's 7 apples, and so I've now quantified in a way, you know, if we translate that, we're going to be quantifying and saying like there's 7 of something, so 7 must exist. And that's fine in that system, and that's an internal question to the system, right? But then there are 2 types of external questions. There's the pragmatic external question, where you could say, should we be using a framework that commits us to the number 7 existing? So that would be like a pragmatic external question, and the Carnapians say that those are A-OK questions. We can ask those questions. But the external question that we can't ask, or that they say is meaningless, is the factual external question of like, are there 7 apples theoretically inside a framework commits you to the existence of the number 7? But if you ask, are there apples, now you're asking like an external question outside of any framework about whether apples have their own ontological existence. And the Carnapian view is that question is meaningless. And that's what I don't like. I like the whole idea. I can make sense to me.
I was nodding my head along, and I'm like, yeah, no, like this tracks. Like I kind of like didn't realize that was the view, and then you said that last phrase, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, that's my issue with it. So my whole like current long-term ontological project is going to be trying to figure out a way, if there's a way to take something from that approach, because like if you learn first order logic, one of the biggest things that you have to learn is that when you're quantifying in first order logic, you have to specify a universe of discourse or a domain of discourse. And so in my mind, like from that logical perspective, I get the idea of saying inside this domain of discourse or this universe of discourse, you know, like we could say Spider-Man exists because the domain of discourse is Marvel movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that makes sense to me that we can quantify.
No spoilers. I'm planning on seeing it Sunday.
Yeah, I wasn't going to spoil anything. But it makes sense to me to say like, okay, we're operating in a domain of discourse or a universe of discourse that does quantify over Spider-Man. So then we would say Spider-Man exists. But like, to me, it doesn't make sense to say if we just broaden the universe of discourse out to reality, or maybe not broaden, but if we specify just reality, like it doesn't make any sense to me to say now there is no way to answer the question of what does or doesn't exist in that domain of discourse. Like there's one specific domain of discourse where we can't answer questions about what does and doesn't exist, and that doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know. That's my gripe with ontology.
Yeah. No, like I said, I was agreeing with you, and I was like, man, this sounds like really close to the way that I understood it from all the different readings. And then you said that last part, and I'm like, no, like that, no.
Yeah, I don't like the whole. It just reminds me of, I don't know. There's some people I've talked to that have similar like either deflationary views or reductionist views, and it's like I get it, but I don't know. Like I still think that I still think it's possible to meaningfully ask what things actually exist in reality and which things don't.
And
But-
I need I as much as I hate it, I do need to get back to Kant and relook at the whole existence isn't a predicate, because from what I remember and from what I understand, he was treating predicates almost like a measuring of degrees, and because existence is something you either have or you don't, that's why it couldn't be a predicate. But I need to go back and re-verify if that's something can have more or less redness.
Well, so my problem with using existence as a predicate is that as soon as you say existence can be a predicate or is a predicate, and then you start saying something doesn't exist, well, in order for a predicate to actually apply to something in reality, the thing has to exist in reality. And so if something in reality doesn't exist, you then have to say that it does exist in reality in order for the predicate non-existence to apply to it in reality. So it's literally not possible for something to not exist unless it also exists. That's a massive problem.
Well, this is why I liked the view that you were talking about. This is what I intuitive. If we accept that existence, you either have or don't have existence, but we also acknowledge that there are different kinds of existence, like you were talking about.
Yeah, like a pluralist view.
So to take the unicorn exists as a concept, so we are giving it existence. But when we say the unicorn doesn't exist, we're not talking about in totality, because it does have a kind of existence that we're giving it. What we're meaning by that is that it doesn't have existence in our sphere of existence, so to speak. So it's a bit of a language collapse that's happening there.
The way that I want to look at it is like, I think that all of those like frameworks are essentially like, I would take like a fictionalist approach to those. Like, numbers exist in mathematical frameworks, and I would say that that's just a useful fiction, right? And so like, but then to me, like, the question that I want to know is the non-fictional ontological question of what things do and don't exist in reality. But I think I'm going to try to give a reset here and see if we can actually get some debates going. But appreciate you.
Well, before you close it, chat, Ogar can have respectful dialogue with people who stick to the substance.
Yeah, if we can actually talk about the thing we're talking about, it's not that hard. All right, take care, man.
You too.
All right, so I am going to give a reset here on the old tiki-taki, and I will be back momentarily. Okay, we'll do one of these. Let TikTok do its thing. Okay, close that. And this. And then get the live going again. Okay. All right. And all right. Thanks to folks popping in real quick here. Appreciate you. Oh, thanks, Lou. Appreciate you supporting right away. That's nice. If we can get some taps, that would be great. Get some likes on there so we can get in the algorithm. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lou, thank you for supporting CT as well. Appreciate that. I forget that when I reset to check the support. I'm the worst. Sorry. Hey, thanks, Booman Jones. Thank you so much, Nobody on Fire and Lupine and Lou and Lupine and Nobody on Fire and everybody. You guys rule. Thanks for the shares and the likes. Well, I do thank you, Lou. I do indeed. But yeah, maybe we can actually have some good debates here. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification for your God belief. Thanks, TT. Hi, Remus. How old are you?
No, I'm 21.
Cool. And what version of God do you believe in?
Islam.
Cool. And then what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in a God?
Yeah, I believe Allah is a necessary truth.
So do you want to answer the question, or?
Yeah, so there's certain things that are going to be necessary truths in any model world, right? For example, a triangle is going to always be three sides no matter what you change or add to it. Similarly, I think that everything's going to be contingent. There needs to be an independent, non-contingent being that's to create everything. And I would simply
Well, it's not.
say that's
It's not possible for contingent things to be grounded in something necessary. There has to be a contingency in their grounding and or creation in order for something to be contingent. So your only options, if you think contingent things exist, there must either be brute contingencies or an infinite regress of contingencies. Those are the only options.
right. And would you not then apply that there's an infinite regress of contingencies?
Well, you're the one that believes in contingencies. So I'm asking if you believe in contingencies and the only options for their existence, the only ways to possibly explain the existence of contingencies is through either brute contingencies, or maybe just one brute contingency, or an infinite regress of contingencies, or maybe even multiple infinite regresses of contingencies. So do you hold to brute contingencies or an infinite regress?
Yeah, I would just hold to what Aristotle and Socrates said.
Can you just answer my question, please? Do you hold to brute contingencies or an infinite regress?
I'm answering your question.
So just give me the direct answer to the question, not some rabbit trail down to some, philosophers that you want to pretend you've read. Do you hold to brute contingencies or an infinite regress of contingencies?
Yeah, what's going to be your argument that I pretend that I read them?
Okay, so I'll ask the question one more time. If you don't want to discuss the substance, that's totally fine. I'll just move on. So do you hold to brute contingencies or an infinite regress?
Move on.
All right, have a good one. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have to actually define or support my position. That's terrifying. Tried desperately to pivot after bringing up contingency. All right. If you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you are 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide rational justification for your God belief. Oh, this should be fun. Isaiah, how old are you?
36.
Okay, and are you still Christian?
What?
Still Christian?
Of course.
Okay. What's the best argument or evidence for God?
Well, everything in the universe appears to be perfectly balanced.
I have no idea what you mean by perfectly balanced, and I have no idea how that would get us to a God.
Well, like I said last time, bro. Could you imagine? If
You don't need to ask me any questions. What's the reason to believe in a God? You said something about balance in the universe. You can either explain what that means or how it gets to a God, or best both.
Let me explain what it means.
Okay, yeah. What's balance in the universe mean?
So, I've never seen a 747 just appear and put together itself.
Okay, so by balance in the universe, what you mean is just that you don't understand how things work, and so you appeal to a God to explain the things you don't understand?
No, that's not what I said.
Okay, well, that's what it sounds like, because you're giving the 747 putting itself together argument, which means that you're going to give some stupid creationist argument about how evolution can't happen and the earth needs to have been created and whatever. That's fine, but all you're really saying with that is that you don't understand how humans came into existence, or how the earth came into existence, or how the sun came into existence, or anything about the history of the universe, and because you don't understand, you're just going to shove a God into that gap in your knowledge and assume that God exists. So I'm not interested in you just shoving God into your gap. What I'm interested in is any reason to actually think that God does in fact exist. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I've got a list of things like that.
Okay, just what's your favorite one?
We'll summarize it to 2 words: fine-tuning.
And why would fine-tuning give us reason to believe in God?
Well, the universe's laws
constraints.
How would
and
that give us a reason to believe in
releases.
God?
Can you let me finish the sentence before you speak?
As long as the sentence is actually responsive to the question that I asked, I absolutely will. So, what about fine-tuning gives us a reason to believe in a God?
Yeah. So the universe's laws.
Okay, so what I'm asking you is not to explain what fine-tuning is. I'm asking you to tell me how fine-tuning gives us a reason to believe in a God.
You see that? You see what I did there? I'll let you finish.
So are you going to answer the question, or are you just trying to grandstand now?
No, I'm teaching you a lesson.
Okay, so I'm going to give you one more opportunity to answer the question. If the next thing you say is anything other than an answer to the question I'm about to ask, I will just move on. That's totally fine. So, how would fine-tuning give us a reason to believe in a God?
Watch this.
All right. I mean, if that's all you really wanted to do is just come up and get kicked, I mean, congrats, you've accomplished it. Refused to actually discuss fine-tuning after bringing it up. All right, if you are in the guest queue or thinking about joining, actually, before I do that, thank you so much, Izzy Chick, for the support, and Papa Lee. Some new names I don't think I've seen. I'm not sure if I've seen before, and so I appreciate massively. Oh, maybe Izzy Chick. I don't fucking know. Thank you so much, both of you, for the support. Thank you, Ashley and Alan Gibson. Thank you, Poopman Jones, as always. And then everybody else for the support. Nobody on Fire, Lupine, Lou. Appreciate you all massively. Okay. Yeah, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about, you've been waiting for 15 minutes and I've only been live for 9. Fair enough. All right, if you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Hi, James, how old are you?
I am 19.
And what version of God do you believe in?
Well, right now, if you were to ask me to prove the God
So
I
what I'm
believe in
asking you for is just to answer the question, what God you believe in.
Well, hold on now. Right now...
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one more time, and if you can't just tell me what God you believe in, I'm going to move on. What God do you believe in?
I believe in the Christian God.
Fantastic. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would provide a justification to believe in a God?
Okay, so I'm going to provide evidence for a God, not the Christian God, because I am not...
Just answer the question, my guy. You don't have to do all this. Just answer the question. What's the best argument or evidence that will provide justification to believe in a God?
So we are three-dimensional creatures, correct?
No.
We are not three-dimensional.
Not in my opinion, no.
So what dimension are we?
4?
Four-dimensional. So fourth dimensional, we are able to travel through time, correct?
No.
So what do you define as fourth dimensional then?
We are temporally extended.
Elaborate.
We don't travel through time. We are extended over time.
If you're fourth dimensional, you are trying to go through time, but
No.
you can't go back, forth, or
Nope.
through it.
Nope. No, I'm 4-dimensional because just like I have, I have one dimension that's like up and down my height. I have another dimension that's left and right, my width. And then I have a third dimension that's back and forth, my depth, right? So I have those 3 dimensions to my body. There's also a 4th dimension to my body, which is the temporal extension, right? I am extended. What extended means just like taking up space. I'm taking up physical space vertically, horizontally, and I don't know what the fucking word would be, like in depth-wise, whatever. I fucked myself there by using vertical and horizontal and not having a third option because I'm stupid. But in those 3 spatial ways, I'm extended in space, right?
Okay, so...
Okay, and so what I'm saying, if you understand that that's what it means to be extended in space, I'm saying the same kind of thing, but in time. My whole body, this entire thing exists in 3 dimensions right now in this moment, and the entirety of what makes up me is a 4-dimensional, like worm-like thing that exists in 4 dimensions. Now, because of the type of being that I am, I'm subjectively experiencing my life one temporal moment at a time. But I don't exist as a 3-dimensional thing moving through time. I exist as a 4-dimensional thing having a subjective experience of time.
You get a ball or a cube, and you tell me that is a 4th dimensional shape.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, because it is also temporally extended. From the moment it came into existence to the moment it goes out of existence, that's its temporal length or
Remind me again in depth what temporal existence means. Please.
Do you mean temporal extension?
Yes.
Okay. So extension just means to to take up space along that axis, maybe is a way to say it. Because I have left to right extension because my body takes up, if we're saying this is one of the dimensions of physical reality, is, a line going this direction, right? I am extended along that because I exist on more than one point in that dimension. And if we look at the vertical dimension, I exist at more than one point in the vertical dimension. So I am extended along that vertical dimension. And along the depth dimension, right, from my chest to my back, this way, I'm extended in that dimension because I take up more than one point in that dimension of space. So in all three of those dimensions of space, I am extended because I exist across more than one point. And to say that you're temporally extended is to say that you exist along at more than one point in time.
Holy shit, I'm gonna have to look that up later. Wow.
Okay. Well, my view is called eternalism and perdurantism. Perdurantism. Perdurantism.
Can you say that a little bit slower? Let me write it down.
Yeah, here. Why don't I throw it in the chat? Perdurantism. Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Okay. Great. I'll look that up later. You have made some interesting points. Okay, do we agree? How about a different one? Because I don't think I can prove that we're not fourth dimensional creatures as right now. I don't have sufficient evidence.
Okay.
So we move on.
James,
okay.
Thank you so much for approaching it that way. I bitch a lot. I do. I'm a whiner and a complainer. But thank you so much for just saying, hey, you know what? I'm not familiar with that, and I don't think I have an argument for that right now. Can we talk about something else? Oh, perfection. I'm sorry. Continue.
All right, so all of us, well, at least human beings and a lot of certain objects, at a point we were uncreated, correct?
I think created might be sneaking some things in there, but, provisionally, sure.
So most of the times, unless you could argue that, yeah, everything had to have been there because we can't create or destroy matter, right?
I feel like I must have zoned out or something because I did not follow what you just said. Can you say it again?
Right. So we can't create or destroy matter. So technically, in every case, I can't say some things are indefinitely created because that would go against the laws of, I think, matter or mass.
Well, so actually, it's energy that can't be created or destroyed. So energy is conserved. That's the first law of thermodynamics. There isn't a physical law that says matter can't be created or destroyed because we destroy matter in physics experiments all the time.
Okay, so
and create matter.
So usually when we're made of matter, that can be created by a cause. So a lot of things were created by a cause, and we can trace that back to either the Big Bang or some way how the universe was brought into existence, right?
Well, again, I think you're sneaking a lot in with universe brought into existence there. I don't think that the universe was brought into existence.
No? Correct me if I'm wrong, but scientists use uranium to date the universe's creation about, I think, 14.6 billion years ago.
I don't think they use uranium. I know there's uranium lead dating to age the Earth. That tells us the age of the Earth. No, that I'm pretty sure what you're talking about is how they calculate the age of the Earth. If we were talking about the age of the universe, I'm pretty sure that that's more from the cosmic microwave background radiation. Now, I could be wrong about that. Yeah, that's what I thought too, Jeff Hutchins. Yeah, it's the CMB. The cosmic microwave background radiation is typically, to my understanding, what we use to calculate the age of the universe. And by age of the universe, I just mean the time since the beginning of the expansion.
The microwave?
Cosmic?
Cosmic?
Microwave? Background? Radiation.
Got it. Can you give me like a brief summary of what this is?
I'm gonna butcher it, but I'll do my very best. So back when the expansion began, everything was too hot for light to even exist for about like 300,000 years after the beginning of the expansion. So for that first 300,000 years while things were starting to expand, it was too hot and too dense. I think mostly heat is what Sober told me, for light to even exist. But eventually it cooled down enough as it kept expanding that light could exist. And again, this is something I don't have a super deep understanding of, but for whatever reason, that initial light that was bouncing around in the early universe created this like background fuzz in the universe, like that we can, it's radiation, that's why they call it that, but it's in the background. And basically what happens is when we take certain types of readings of space and we're trying to like bring noise out of it, there's a type of noise that you can't account for any other way than it being this cosmic microwave background radiation left over from the early stages of the universe after the Big Bang. And so what we can do is we can say, like, because of how much physicists understand, cosmologists understand about that CMB, they're able to calculate, again, this is not my area of expertise, not that I have one, but this certainly isn't it. But that's my basic understanding, is that it's just leftover radiation from when light first appeared in the universe, around 300,000-ish years after the beginning of the expansion.
Beginning of the expansion of the universe, correct?
Yes.
So
I just want to stress, I may have completely butchered that, so please don't nobody form any positions based on the stuff that I just said, because that's my understanding, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so you brought a point where there was a period of 300,000 years where the expansion was really hot and couldn't create light, right?
Yeah, not even light could exist.
To sustain light. So, before that 300,000 years, there was an expansion, according to that logic, right?
Yeah, it began expanding, and then it wasn't until 300,000 years later or so that light could exist in the universe.
So, did the universe exist before it started expanding?
No idea.
No idea.
Not a clue. Some people think it did, some people think it didn't. I'm agnostic.
So, if it did exist, then that would trace back to why it exists. And if it didn't exist, that means the expansion was either the cause of it existing, or the cause of it existing also created expansion, right?
Those are some plausible options.
So, right now we have created a timeline where the universe existed, and the universe might have, not sure, so let's just say the universe didn't exist at a point. So there's a point where it did exist, a point where it didn't, and there's a point where it became existence.
Well, so here's the thing I want to clarify. I don't know whether there was like a first moment of time, like maybe when the expansion began, maybe that was the first moment in time. I don't know, maybe not. But even if it was, I don't think that would also be when the universe came into existence. Do you remember when we were talking about my view of perdurantism before?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to come back here, because I think that the universe is one big four-dimensional block that just exists. It doesn't come into existence, it doesn't go out of existence, and even if it has a first moment of time and a last moment of time, that's not it coming into existence or going out of existence. That's just its four-dimensional shape, right? Like, it may have four-dimensional boundaries, which we could call first and or last moments of time, but that doesn't mean that it is I live in a really small town, so there are a lot of streets in this town where if you walk down them long enough, they just stop, right? But the road doesn't stop existing when I walk off the edge of the pavement, right? It's just I've reached the edge of where it's extended along that dimension of space. And that's what I would say, if there are first and last moments of time in the universe, that would just be like the end of how far it's extended along that dimension. But I don't think that means that it's coming into existence at the first moment, or that it would be going out of existence at the last moment. I think the whole thing exists as one thing, and that's what exists.
So the universe is always there, even before time was created, because
Well, no.
it is outside of time.
Yeah, you couldn't really. So I kind of yes, but I don't want to say before time because that implies a time before time, which doesn't make any sense.
Time before time.
Yeah, so I don't want to say it existed before time. I'm saying it exists atemporally. It exists without any time consideration, and time is just one of the dimensions that the universe is extended along.
So time is also infinite,
No,
right?
I don't know
There's
whether
a
time is
point
infinite
where
or not.
It wasn't. If you so you said that there wasn't a time before time,
right?
So that would imply that time was always there.
Well, in the sense that it never came into existence, but not necessarily in the sense that it goes on infinitely.
So you believe that it was always there, but it might not always be there.
Right. So like I have this little fidget cube that I play with during my streams, right? So we can see that if I travel along this dimension of the cube, I'm going to get to the edge and go off of it, right? Or like if I go this direction, I'll eventually get to the edge and now I'm not on the cube anymore. But that has nothing to do with the cube beginning or ending its existence just because like it has a boundary along it, you know, it's one of its spatial dimensions, or in fact all of its spatial dimensions. Like it has boundaries to its spatial dimensions, but it doesn't come into or go out of existence if we were to traverse past one of those boundaries. You know what I mean? Like
the boundary of time.
Right. So imagine that. Hey, are you familiar with the thought experiment of Flatland? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Remind me again.
Okay. So imagine that there are two-dimensional people, right? And they live on this two-dimensional plane. And that's all they know is two-dimensional existence. Then a three-dimensional being, like, you know, somebody like you and I, who exists in higher dimensions than two, higher physical dimensions than two, takes a balloon and we pass it through their plane of existence, their two-dimensional plane. From their perspective, they're going to see something pop into existence and then expand and grow bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then eventually it'll start getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it doesn't exist anymore. So from their perspective, because they saw the balloon pass through and they only saw two dimensions of it at a time, they don't know. They think it comes into existence and goes out of existence. But that's because they're only experiencing a specific, like, that's only because of the way they're experiencing it. The balloon doesn't actually come into existence when they begin experiencing it, and it doesn't go out of existence when they stop experiencing it, even though it looks that way to them. And what I'm saying is, like, the whole universe, even though it seems like we're traveling through the universe, through time in a direct way, what I'm saying is that the whole timeline, the whole thing exists all as one, and there is no actual passage of time. That's just a subjective thing that we experience.
In your analogy, is the balloon the universe or time?
Time.
Time.
Yeah, it seems like it
what would the
because you experience it starting and ending, because it has a beginning and an end to like how far it's extended, doesn't mean that it's coming into or out of existence when you get to the edge of it.
Can you rephrase that, perhaps?
Yeah, I was just trying to give another illustration, like with the cube, right? Just because I get to the end, it doesn't mean it goes out of existence. So that's what I'm saying, like the universe is this temporally extended block, but just even if you were there at the first moment of existence or at the last moment of existence, that wouldn't mean that you're there when the universe is coming into or going out of existence. It just means that you've reached that boundary.
So, reaching the end of the cube is reaching the end of existence, but
No.
it was there.
No, the end of time.
End of time.
Right, like when I walk out of my house, I've passed the boundary of my house's spatial extension, but my house doesn't stop existing just because it has that boundary. And that's what I'm saying about time. The universe may have temporal boundaries, a first moment and a last moment, but that doesn't mean that it comes into or goes out of existence because it has those boundaries.
So, the universe has boundaries of time, but
It
just
could.
because it
I don't know if it does. I'm saying it could.
have boundaries of time, and when it appears or disappears, that doesn't affect the existence of the universe.
Right. I'm not saying it ever appears or disappears. I'm saying that, like, I'm just trying to give an example of, like, if you were able to experience it in the way that a flatlander would experience a balloon, in that conception, in that thought experiment, even if you experienced it in that way where it seemed to come into and go out of existence, that wouldn't mean that it was actually coming into or going out of existence. It would just mean that you had reached a boundary.
Boundary of
time.
So
the whole thing that we were supposed to be talking about here, we were talking about the universe beginning to exist, and you were talking about it having a first moment and knowing how old the universe is since the Big Bang, whatever. And all I was trying to point out is that it could be possible that there's a first moment of time without the universe having a beginning, without it actually beginning to exist. So what I'm asking for is, even if I grant you that there's a first moment of time, since that doesn't get us to a beginning of the universe or the universe coming into existence, I would need some reason to think that the universe did come into existence for this argument for God to work.
That was a lot simpler than your analogies. I understand that. So you're saying that even if if we said it began at a time, the universe is outside the boundaries of time.
I mean, not really, but that's fine. So I'm just saying that even if it has a first moment, that doesn't mean that's when it came into existence. So in order for us to think that the universe began to exist in the sense that it came into existence, I would need some argument or evidence for that.
First moment. Okay. I know what you're saying has legitimacy behind it, but it's a little hard to comprehend because you're saying first moment as in... Hold up, can you give me 1 second real quick?
Okay.
Sorry, I had a text from my manager. I work at Dairy Queen.
You're good.
Anyways, so... Remind me of my talk again.
Well, so here's the thing, man. I don't know if we're making a whole lot of progress. It sounds like this is stuff that you just haven't looked into before, which is totally fine. There's nobody that knows everything, right? So that's not a mark against you. In fact, like I was pointing out before, the fact that you were able to recognize that and move on earlier, I count as a huge mark in your favor. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to look up these things like perdurantism and eternalism, and then look up, arguments that take those things into account. And then I would ask you to, spend a couple weeks or months thinking about this stuff, looking into arguments, maybe talking to other people, and then come back in a couple weeks or couple months and crush me. Give me a super strong argument that I can't deny and convert me.
All right, give me like 3-4 hours. I'll try my best.
No, I'm saying like a couple weeks, man. Give it like a couple weeks or a couple months. Really think about this stuff. Really look into it. I've been doing this shit I've been doing the streaming and doing these debates for coming up on 6 months now. I do a lot of this, like hours, almost every single day. And before that, I spent like 20 years researching and thinking about this stuff. So what I'm asking you to genuinely like put some time and thought into this, do some research, look up other arguments, look up their refutations, and then come back with something really strong in like 2 weeks to 2 months, and just steamroll me.
All right, got it. I do study pretty fast, though. I remember during SAT, I think last year or last year, it took me like 2 months, and I kind of basically memorized everything. So, okay. See you later. I'll try to look up some of your points that you made.
All right.
Nice talking to you. I really enjoyed this conversation. I'm trying to get into speech and debate lately, so some of these things just help me improve on my speaking skills and how I can get my point across.
All right. Well, appreciate the conversation. You have a good one.
And thank you for your time.
Now I am very worried that person was younger than he claimed to be. Okay. Hey, thank you, Casey. And also thank you for sending support to James. That's very nice of you. Thank you for the support. Also, I am the only one. Thank you, Lupine and Pitpat and Ken BD. Appreciate your support. Is that supposed to be something? No, that's what it is. Thank you, Hop Count and Philosophy. Made my face even fatter. Thank you, Philosophy, for the overreact. Thank you very much, Oppo and Poopman Jones. Oh, Poopman Jones and Alan also supporting James. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Bertram. And John F 96 or 096, thank you so much to Mickey and Iacabina and both sides. Appreciate you massively. Thank you to Lupine and Lem. Everybody, thank you so much for the support. We got some more Hop Count and Insomniac and Life's a Glitch. Appreciate you all massively. Genuinely appreciate the support. Yeah, I kind of realized that at the end, Raw Meat, that he was not 18, and that's unfortunate. Yeah, we talked for a while. I didn't know that he wasn't 18 until at the very end he started saying something about, getting into speech and stuff. No, DEDAJ. I was supposed to do that last night, and I fucking forgot. So tonight for sure, I will set that up. Thank you for the reminder. All right, if you're in the guest queue or if you're thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Hoodlum. How old are you?
51.
Okay, and then what God do you believe in?
Jesus Christ.
Cool. And what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give a reason to believe in a God?
I believe in string theory, dimensional understanding of being in time and out of time. I think that
what's the reason to believe in string theory? Because as far as I know, it can't even be tested. It's unfalsifiable.
Well, sure. So,
so you just believe in unfalsifiable things, even though there's no evidence for them?
No, I've been listening, right, and I heard your fourth dimensional argument, right, and that actually plays into part of my understanding, right?
Right, but string theory is unsupported, and believing in it is unwarranted.
Well, can I make my argument for your fourth dimensional argument because it ties into mine?
No, I'm looking for the argument for God, but if your argument for God relies on string theory, then it's dead on arrival because there's no support for string theory. We can't even test the theory, so we have no reason to believe that it's true. So if your argument relies on string theory, then we can... Okay, well, okay.
It doesn't entirely, no.
Okay, so then making sure that we don't have to talk about string theory because, again, that's dead on arrival, what would be the reason to believe in a God?
Yeah, so it would be your... my understanding of your perspective when it came to your...
Well, we don't have to talk about my perspective. Let's just talk about whether or not there's a reason to believe in a God.
No, I want to talk about it because it's important to making my point. So
okay, so how about you just give the argument for God, and if my view is important, we'll get to it.
Yeah, so the fourth dimensional perspective of your being, right, would be your consciousness conceptualization of the things around you, right? And so it gets back to, yes, 100%.
No.
Okay. So
you're trying to tell me what my view is?
Well, that's what you said.
No, I didn't say anything about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then what would make you fourth dimensional? Your consciousness?
No.
Well, that's what you said.
No, I didn't say anything about my consciousness. What are you talking about?
So you have height, you have width, and you have depth. That's 3 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the fourth dimension?
Time.
It's not your consciousness.
Time.
Time?
Yes, I'm temporally extended. We are all temporally extended.
Okay, so time happens all at the same time.
No.
What is your evidence that it doesn't?
What is my evidence that the moment that I was born is a different moment than the moment I'm experiencing right now?
Yeah, your consciousness.
So, okay, so let me just make sure that I understand here. So your perspective is that the moment I was born is the same moment as the moment that I'm experiencing right now?
The only thing that would change it would be your perspective.
That was a yes or no question. Is it your position that the moment I was born and the moment I'm experiencing right now are the same moment? Yes or no?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, well, I'll just take that as a reductio. It's obvious that I think everybody can tell that we're not experiencing the moment that I was born. So if that's what you've got, then I think that we're done. So do you have anything?
No, we're not done. And
no, if that's what you've got, then that's all. Then we're done.
No. If you want to run away, that's fine. But
okay, thank you for permission. Yeah, you come in talking about string theory, and then you want to talk about the fourth dimension is consciousness. Ugh. All right. The fourth dimension is consciousness? Wild. All right. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, please make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Well, I don't know if you need to go that far, Poopman Jones. Not that I'm mad at you, but oh, funny. Oh, you guys know that person? Okay, well then never mind. Yeah, then I'm probably glad that Poopman Jones took. All right, fair enough. You guys know stuff I don't know. I don't know that individual. I guess I've not experienced their conversations before. Dimensions measurable? I don't know. It depends on what you mean, Phantom Rick. Oh yeah, Poopman Jones is a massive W for username. All right, we'll bring up the next person. Hi, Chris. How old are you?
Wait, I just want to say something.
Please don't request if you're a child. All right. If you are, he's not welcome bigger plow. Let's see. Oh, all right. Well, fair enough. All right. If you're in the, hey, thanks, Ashley. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, Goop. How old are you? 18. Do you want to take your phone out of your chest?
It's not in my chest.
Oh, it sounded like it was like inside your chest next to your heartbeat. Okay. You said you're 18?
Yeah.
When were you born?
2007.
And what God do you believe in?
Just the regular Jesus and God.
Okay, and what would you say is the best argument or evidence that would give us reason to believe in a God?
What year is it?
Okay, well, we're not going to do that. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that would provide justification to believe in a God. Oh, so it's a good thing that I dropped that person. Oh, I guess Elijah's not connecting. What year is it? I don't know what that means, Goat Man, and I don't know whether to be supportive or upset. TikTok is sick talk. I mean, I guess. So currently don't have anybody requesting. We'll wait a little bit to see if we get anybody else up. It's glitching. Well, request. Thanks. My moderator blocked you when we were debating. I don't think that my moderator blocked you while we were debating. Okay. So if no, you and your okay, well, I don't really give a fuck, Micah. Like, I don't know why you expect me to care. If you're in the guest queue or thinking about joining, make sure that you're 18 plus and that you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief. Hi, user. How old are you?
I'm 18.
When were you born?
2007.
And when was what was the last math class you took?
The what?
Yeah, that was a child. All right. So if you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief, feel free to come up. I would be happy to chat. That's terrible advice, Nate Horrell. That's terrible advice. All right. If you are 18 plus and you have some kind of argument or evidence that will provide justification for your God belief, feel free to request. I'd be happy to have the debate. That is certainly the goal, to have good faith linear debates about whether or not there's justification to believe in a God. Oh, thanks, DJ. Yeah, we got some Yaucha going today. All right, so maybe we can have a good conversation. We'll find out. Hi, Lute. How old are you?
18. You're a fat fucking retard, dude.
About what I expect. Okay. Oh, thanks, Ashley and Lupine working in concert. Oh, and Poop Man Jones getting in on the action too? Hilarious. Well, maybe we can have one more debate, or maybe I just call it for the evening. I would love to actually have a good debate. We'll find out, I suppose. If anyone here is... Wait, what's happening? Guesting Live is violated. Okay, well, I don't have any guests up right now. TikTok is yelling at me for a guest in my live, but I don't have anybody up, so it's not like I can kick somebody for it. Hey, thanks, Life's a Glitch. Thank you, Kerr, as well, for the support, and Ayakabina, Life's a Glitch. Everybody, thank you. Sincerely, I genuinely appreciate it. You know, I've talked a bunch about this, but, like, it's less than a week now until I start... less than a week now till I start college. You know, starting my classes on Monday, and the support that you guys are sending is making a huge difference to me, being able to do a lot of different stuff. I'm really excited about it, and yeah, I'm about to be a 40-year-old college freshman. I'm going to college for philosophy. I found a community college here not too far from me that also does online classes, and so I can go to college 41 when you went back. That's awesome. Well, I'm right there. I'm right there with you, Stephen, with cats. But yeah, so I will be starting my first semester of college on Monday. Well, thanks, Johnny. Appreciate it. But yeah, just looking for master's in biological psychology. That's awesome. Thanks, Goatman. I'm really looking forward to it, and the people supporting is what I was trying to say. It makes a huge difference to me. Thank you, Lupine, and that girl OB. Thank you. I really appreciate your support. No, I do not have a wife. Okay, I will set that up. DEDAJ. Yeah, I'm really excited to start my philosophy classes. I'm super stoked. Really hoping that it goes well. But yeah, I really appreciate the support from everybody. It's like makes such a huge difference to me. Thank you so much. I will say, you know, as I always end my lives with, remember that tomorrow is not guaranteed, so you don't know how many opportunities you'll have left to let your family and friends know how important they are to you. So don't miss any of those